A winter weather surprise ahead of tomorrow's WRAL Weather Alert Day. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Julian Grace. But first, we need to let you know school schedule changes. Person County schools and Vance County schools are closed tomorrow. Those are our first two school systems to announce closures. You can keep a close watch of our school closings at WRAL.com anytime. Now, let's just take a look at this. Snow falling in Chapel Hill this afternoon. You can really see it coming down. Also, snow falling in Lake Gaston. Some of you really wanted to see that. But we also had sleet all over the Triangle. This was the scene earlier in Dix Park. We have winter weather team coverage in the WRAL Storm Tracker, in the Live Center, and in our Severe Weather Center to talk about today's unexpected precipitation and the weather we could see tomorrow. Let's begin with meteorologist Anthony Baglione. Anthony.
Julian, at this point, I want to start us off with radar, where we're starting to see a lot of progress compared to where we were this afternoon. We had kind of a band coming through from the Triangle to the north. Where we sit at the moment, though, you still see some of those colors there as far as the blue is concerned, the pink. But our viewing area, we are wrapping this up for the time being. I do not expect major issues or any issues if you're headed out here the next couple of hours. But you can see, generally speaking, that's pushing through Roanoke Rapids. The back edge of some wintry mix is kind of coming through there right now. We are quiet in Henderson, Rocky Mount, also quieting down with some rain showers that just push through there around the Triangle. We are good to go here at this point. We take a view down to the south and west. Nothing at the moment, maybe a little sprinkle there moving through Siler City, but I don't expect anything else until we get after midnight tonight. There's Futurecast. It is missing some of this coverage. The models have not been doing a great job with this system. And so I'm going to say what I think here. As we get closer to 9 o'clock, we're still dry. We have the cloud cover in place. We get after midnight. I do think we'll see some scattered showers. And then our far northern counties where you see that pink showing up right there, that would be the potential for a light glazing of some ice before it transitions completely to rain. By the time we get to the Monday morning commute there, Julian, at about 8 o'clock or so, this is going to be solidly rain for everyone. But of course, inconvenient and impactful tomorrow morning. We're going to walk through all the details of this system a little bit more slowly here coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Anthony. We're also keeping a close eye on the roads tonight. WRAL's Carly Haynes is live on I-40 in Wake County near the airport right now in the WRAL Storm Tracker. Carly, how are the road conditions out there right now?
Julian, we actually just passed the airport now, and what we're seeing on the roads right now is just what's left over from earlier in the day. Those wet roads because of that mix of snow and sleet that we saw all around the Triangle. You might have heard it bouncing off windshields and pavement. It came and it left. These were some of the road conditions when we made our way along I-40 West earlier, heading up to Chapel Hill. Wet roads, sleet not sticking around too long. We did get some reports of snow or sleet in Durham, Wake, Johnston, Orange, Nash counties, and plenty more. We actually stopped at a gas station to talk with some people. They said it was the first time they saw wintry weather in this area in years.
I'm excited about it. I think it's not worth being cold unless you've got some snow.
Coming down, it mostly was a normal experience, but then there was a patch when my dad started seeing snow a bit, and then I started seeing snow, and then it came in a blizzard.
And that band came a little bit earlier, but as meteorologist Anthony Baglione said, a lot of us are going to be heading to work and school for the first time after the holidays tomorrow, so we are definitely going to want to be careful when we hit the roads. Julian?
Great advice as always. Winter weather tomorrow could ice power in parts of the state. Duke Energy spokesman Jeff Brooks says crews are closely monitoring the storm, particularly in the mountains and the northwestern communities, where conditions are most likely to be severe. Brooks says that even a quarter-inch of ice accumulation can cause tree limbs to fall, which in turn can snap power lines, leading to widespread outages. He urges residents to stay alert and watch out for Duke Energy crews working on the roads to restore service.
So always move over or slow down if you have to be out on the road. Give our crews the chance to work safely. But obviously the best strategy is just to stay home and let the emergency crews do their jobs. Let us get out there and restore power in those places where we are.
Here's also a great reminder. Brooks reminds those who rely on power for medical needs to have a backup plan in place in case of an outage. Many students head back to the classroom tomorrow for the first time since winter break. Some schools are already making the decision to close. The latest is Person County schools and Vance schools as well. We also asked some parents around the Raleigh area if they had any plans to do anything different because of weather impacts. They told us they're preparing for closures and preparing for closures being made at the last minute because of the roads.
So I guess we'll just have to be monitoring it and make sure that everybody makes it safe on their way to school. I'm sure getting back into the routine of things will be tough for a lot of families, so we'll just have to be prepared and ready to make the adjustments wherever we need to.
Leave a little early. Hopefully the roads will be okay, but always making sure that, we allow ourselves enough time, take our time to get there in case if things are a little slippery or wet.
You can find all the closings and delays on the WRAL homepage.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, we got lots of viewer photos of winter weather in our area. Let's begin in North Raleigh. Take a look at this. Ice collecting on roofs near Creedmoor Road and Lynn Road. You can see some nestled where those edges meet. Not snow, but something that could still get kids excited seeing some white there. Now here's some snow that really came down hard for a bit there over in Roxborough. Even stuck to the grass. Big flurries as well. It's quite the sight there over in Roxborough. We also saw plenty of sleet. First up in northern Chatham County, a small bit on the chair there, but not as much as our friend over in Oxford. Take a look at this. She is ready for some snow, hat and all, and on the trampoline. She even got enough to build a little bit of a snowball there. But get this, Virginia has North Carolina a bit beat. Here's what we saw in Clarksville, some more promising snow building up on the porch. Back here at home, how about freezing rain and sleet off Capitol Boulevard? Some pretty good coverage there on the ground, on the car, just not quite enough for a snowball like our friend in Oxford had. And how about this in Virgilina, Virginia? What appears to be some hail, maybe, leaves frozen there on what appears to be a chair. And check out this in Henderson County, some gorgeous trees there and some snowfall, feeling a bit like a belated white Christmas. Finally, a beautiful shot of Carlay, grass-covered deck as well, plus some very chilly water past all that snow. Of course, we love seeing these photos here in the WRAL Live Center. If you want to submit some yourself, do so at WRAL.com/report-it.
Yes, please keep those photos coming. Well, you can count on WRAL no matter what comes our way. We'll bring you the very latest weather coverage on WRAL.com, WRAL News Plus, and the WRAL app. And we'll bring you team coverage for tomorrow's WRAL Weather Alert Day, helping you get ready for the return of school after the long holiday break. That starts tomorrow at 4:30. In other news, as many of us are returning to our normal routines after the holidays, the flu, COVID, and RSV, and can't forget about the norovirus, are making their winter rounds nationwide. In the Triangle, the rise of respiratory illnesses is forcing some healthcare facilities to restrict visitors beginning Monday. WRAL's Laura Levine explains the quadruple whammy.
A major threat is hitting communities hard this winter. And no, we're not just talking about winter storms.
I would say for the past couple of weeks, we have seen a pretty drastic rise in flu and RSV.
And there's more. Health professionals are warning of a quademic. RSV, the flu, COVID, and norovirus could possibly peak around the same time. The virus is already wreaking havoc in hospitals across the Triangle. Daniel Park is the medical director of the Pediatric Emergency Department at UNC Medical Center.
Every year when we have respiratory viruses start to surge, I usually call the emergency department the canary in the coal mine for the rest of the hospital. That's when you see, waiting room crowding, emergency room crowding, where a lot of people come in, especially around the holidays.
Several healthcare facilities are now limiting visitors amid the rise in respiratory illnesses. Duke University Health System, UNC hospitals, and UNC Rex hospitals and facilities will begin age-based visitor restrictions Monday. Despite a slow start, the CDC is predicting hospitalizations could be as high as last year. 5 people died of the flu in North Carolina during the last week of December, marking the most flu deaths in a single week during the current flu season.
But there are some things that you can do, especially for the young and the old. Both patient populations can get immunized for both RSV and flu, and that could be a very wise preventative measure.
And Park says taking preventative measures is a must to stay healthy in the new year.
And then again, if you are actively symptomatic, febrile, coughing, copious nasal and oral secretions, stay home.
For WRAL News, I'm Laura Levine.
Once again, those restrictions start on Monday. Now, you can find a full list of hospital restrictions as well as the best place to get an updated flu shot near you. Just go to WRAL.com. That information is waiting for you. Going for the crown. Next, how one NC Central student is preparing to take home the title of Miss America tonight. Anthony.
And Julian, as we check out the region, we do have winter weather advisories out as we head through tonight for our northern counties. We're going to time out this system, though, and talk about a wintry mix that we could see coming up.
Welcome back. We learned the name of the missing woman found dead in Fayetteville. Police say 24-year-old Jakira Ortiz was killed. Her body was found in the area of Tarmac Drive this morning. Police are now investigating this as a homicide. Anyone with information is asked to call the Fayetteville Police Department. Investigators in Southern Pines are investigating a possible stabbing. It happened just after 12:30 this afternoon on the Cypress Circle area. We know one man was flown to the hospital. No word on how he's doing at this time. We're waiting to hear back from law enforcement about what happened and the identities of those involved. 3 people are in the hospital after a fire destroyed a house near Murchison Road in Cumberland County this morning. It happened around 8:30 in the a.m. on Tammy Street and J&L Mobile Home Park number 2. The fire department tells us that 3 people were transported to the hospital with at least 1 person in critical condition. 2 people escaped the fire and were outside of the home by the time fire crews arrived. They were both treated and taken to the hospital. 1 person was found inside the home. Firefighters transported the person to the hospital. Some customers in Cumberland County are still without power after an outage this morning. That's according to poweroutage.us. 2,300 customers are still without power. The Fayetteville Public Works Commission says 2 outages happened over equipment failures. Crews are still working to restore power to those impacted. This is a big night for Miss North Carolina. Carrie Everett, the NC Central student, was one of 3 winners of the 2025 Miss America's Got Talent competition. Each winner received a $3,000 scholarship. The competition also includes evening wear, interviews, and fitness rounds. Everett will compete for the title of Miss America during the final competition tonight. We are rooting her on. Anthony, bringing you back in, the radar now is looking quiet.
It looks a whole lot quieter, Julian, than where we were this afternoon. We had that sleet coming through, some snow, some rain, and I got to say that was kind of a precursor to the rain event that we're talking about into tonight. The models did not handle that well, and that was not a well forecasted, I will say, band that came through. The reason for that, though, we were initially thinking that the air right above us was going to be really dry, and when that happens, as is usually the case when our air is super dry out there, as it was currently this afternoon, the moisture falls through that and kind of gets absorbed, if you will, like a sponge. So it doesn't necessarily ever reach the surface. What happened, though, this afternoon, it was falling so fast up in the atmosphere, it actually was able to saturate the column of air around it, and then it actually reached the surface. So it was just kind of a very micro meteorological phenomenon that happened, and that's why we did see some sleet at the surface. We saw some snow. It pushed through relatively quickly, and where we're sitting right now, you can see that last band pushing through Roanoke Rapids. That may be a bit of a wintry mix. Rocky Mount, though, is quiet. Henderson's looking pretty quiet. I don't expect any issues here if you're headed out through this evening. We are not going to see any accumulation with anything else coming through. There's Siler City. That little tiny cell that came through there is pushing through and off to the east right now. We do, though, tonight have winter weather advisories outlined for our northern counties. Yesterday, it was just Mecklenburg County. The Weather Service pushed that a little bit farther south there to include our far northern counties. What that is saying is in those areas, there could be a brief period between about 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. where we could see a light glazing of some ice, maybe up to about 1/10 of an inch or so. Then it will switch all to rain by the time we get to our morning commute. So I don't expect widespread icing issues across our entire viewing area. Just that brief period, if you're up and at them early, we could see some slick spots. Here's Futurecast, though. We go through the next couple of hours so you can see how quiet it's going to be continuing through the evening. Maybe a snowflake or 2 there for South Hill, but I think the majority of what we're seeing out there is still pretty quiet. 9 o'clock this evening, still looking good. Dinner plans are fine, but then after midnight, we start to see some rounds of rain coming in. That transition zone there, we're talking up for our far northern counties where those winter weather advisories are outlined. That pink would either be some freezing rain, maybe a wintry mix, kind of like what we saw this afternoon with some sleet kind of mixing in, and then it pushes out of here, and I'll take you here closer to the Monday morning commute as we start to see that band pushing out. There may be some rain. There's definitely still going to be some rain tomorrow morning, but it is all green. You see right there, our temperatures are going to climb up just enough relative to freezing where I don't expect expect any freezing issues for the commute. 10 o'clock in the morning, all of us in rain, and that should continue through probably the early part of the afternoon. A lot of this should start to push on out by the time we get later on tomorrow, and that's when that high resolution model cuts out. We're going to get another one of those here in the next couple of hours, and we will certainly bring that to you. There's how it shapes up, though. All rain for us into tonight from about Durham down to the south. Mixed precipitation, freezing rain, just kind of an unsettled forecast for everyone as we head through tonight. Temperatures at the moment, we are above freezing in Durham, Raleigh, Rocky Mount, but you see where those far northern counties are at, close to freezing. That would lend itself to that potential if anything were to fall after midnight, that it could be a little bit wintry. 36 tonight in Raleigh, 38 in Clinton. By the time we get to the morning commute, things will probably be about 38 to 39. So we're going to start to rise temperatures through the morning. That has a huge difference compared to freezing temperatures versus just above freezing and getting some rain. 49 degrees for us tomorrow, though 42 on Tuesday. Julian, we're watching another system very similar to today, but potentially a little bit colder into next weekend. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Okay, we know you will, Anthony. Thank you. Pat Welcher is here with us. Pat, can we say the Panthers have their quarterback for the future?
I think you definitively can. I mean, they're not playing for a playoff spot, but they might be in the future. Why the future looks bright for the first time in a long time. We go to OT next.
At the bottom of the screen, nothing to...
The Panthers have allowed the most points in NFL history. And you know what? I don't care. They got a coach. They got a quarterback. They'll figure out the rest later. Panthers, Falcons, regular season finale. Falcons need a win and a Bucs loss to make the playoffs. Carolina, happy to play spoiler. Here's Bryce Young, deep to Miles Sanders. Sanders hasn't played since the Germany game. Told Dave Canales Friday, I'm playing. Now about that defense. Edro Avero, not working with much, and it shows. Rookie Michael Penix, deep to Drake London. 24-17 Falcons at the half. 4 minutes to go. Game tied at 31. Young scrambles and scores. Dave Canales said he felt like he could call anything and Young would execute. But could the lead hold? Short answer was no. Bijan Robinson, elite cut, and the Falcons force OT. So Panthers, get it first and do what Canales has been preaching all season. Finish. Sanders completes his magical day. Panthers get the win, 44-38.
Well, I'd say we'll take it week to week. We got no more weeks, you know. So, yeah, Bryce is our quarterback. You know, I'm so proud of the way that he just took the challenge and he just grew every week. He just took new lessons, new things, applied it to his game.
You know, this year is definitely it's been something that I've a year not like I've ever had before. But God doesn't make mistakes. I'm super grateful for just the path he had me on.
Just an amazing turnaround from where they were. The future, for the first time in a long time, looks bright. There's no Caitlin Clark in women's college basketball this season, but Hannah Hidalgo deserves some shine. The Notre Dame guard in Chapel Hill today, averaging 26 points per game, number 2 in the nation. Hidalgo watched the men's game yesterday in South Bend. Carolina got the close win. Now it's her turn. First half, UNC's Lexi Donarski says, hey, I can shoot threes too. Carolina with a 9-0 run to take the lead. But the Irish answer. Olivia Miles, the dish to Hidalgo in the corner. That combo just a nightmare to defend. Notre Dame by 14 at the half. Third quarter, it was just a three-point fest. Renaya Kelly nails the open look. Timeout on the floor. The lead down to single digits. To the fourth, Carolina traps Miles, but that left Hidalgo wide open. Game high 24 points. Notre Dame gets the win, 76-66. Sanaya Rivers and the NC State women taking on Boston College. Wes Moore looking to make it 7 wins in a row. Here's Rivers, the assist to Tilda Traeger. Basket and the foul. Wolfpack trying to end this thing in the first quarter. Here's Isaiah James breaking out the old and one mixtape. 28-9 after one. James had 17 and Rivers led all scorers with 23. Hey, the point guard could post up too. State wins big, 91-52. Reagan Richardson and the Duke women hosting Pitt. Don't see enough good inbound plays anymore. Reagan Richardson knocks it down. Nice look there. She eclipsed the 1,000 career point mark. 7-0 start, but Pitt answers. Kadeja Faye, one of the best players in the ACC, as Pitt takes the brief lead, but Duke responds with 15 straight. Vanessa De Jesus for 3. Duke gets the win. A lot of blowouts this afternoon in women's basketball, 69-31. Some other news in the NFL, Julian. Patriots have fired their head coach, Gerard Mayo. So a new coach coming for Drake May. And big one tonight on Sunday Night Football, Lions and Vikings.
All right, we'll be watching. Thanks, Pat. A school closing update now. Northampton County, Virginia schools have joined Person and Vance County schools in closing tomorrow, or delayed, I should say. Join us back here after tonight's game for our late news, especially as we continue to track our potential for winter weather. Have a good evening.